You know how you go on a date with a beautiful woman and at the end of the night you discover she's actually a man? Well, in this guy's case, he went on a TV show, he was promised to be on a date with a woman, got intimate with her, won the show, only to be told that she's actually a he. This is a scenario that's hardly believable today, but this exact thing happened on a reality TV show back in 2003. Have a look.
I'm not a woman. I was born as a man.
So all these years later, Channel 4 created a documentary about Miriam and this memorable, insane TV show. Miriam died in 2019 at the age of 38. It was determined that it was a suicide, but Miriam's husband has some reasons to believe that she has actually been killed. Anyway, let's explore a bit what happened with this show, because it's an absolutely crazy concept. These men were led to believe that Miriam was a biological woman. They competed for her love, they got intimate, physical with her. And I'm saying her because that's what the men believed, that Miriam was a biological woman. And as much as I take reality TV with a grain of salt, maybe some of them really developed real feelings for her. And then, when Miriam makes her choice, the guy wins her over, they are about to ride into the sunset together, live happily ever after, as she reveals that she is transgender. That she's actually a biological man who did not have the bottom surgery, which means all the bits there were still there. The Daily Mail article says, but the naive producers had underestimated the sheer anger of the boys when they realized they'd been lied to and the emotional damage it would go on to cause. After choosing Tom, then 23, as her winner, Miriam told the boys, I tried to be honest with all of you as much as I can. Yes, I'm from Mexico, I'm a model, I'm 21, all important details. But Tom, I really love spending time with you. I love men and I love being a woman, but I'm not a woman. I was born as a man. Her words, which friends believe were scripted by the TV crew, were initially met with laughter from the 5 other boys and pure shock from Tom. In the reality show described as the most explosive dating experience of a lifetime, Tom had grown close to Miriam and had even been filmed getting intimate with her and kissing her passionately. I mean, let's see what it looked like. We have here a little promo clip from the show.
This week, the 5 guys get set to impress.
They use the song, You Look Like a Lady.
I do fancy Miriam, yes. I'm definitely attracted to you.
The one-on-one dates get intimate.
I think he's going to go straight in for the kill. I think you're absolutely stunning.
But they're still unaware of Miriam's secrets.
A lot of testosterone flying about.
He put his hands on my leg. I said, can you get up and sit over there?
An all-new episode of There's Something About Miriam, tomorrow, 9 o'clock.
As you saw in the clip, the guys did get very close to Miriam. They kissed, they touched, they developed feelings. The article continues. Although Tom initially said he'd still go on a yacht trip because we're all good friends here, a behind-the-scenes interview revealed his true thoughts. Speaking to the camera, he said, I'm very shocked and I wouldn't want to spend a week on a boat with someone I didn't trust and deceived me. I was being honest in that house and he, speaking about Miriam, wasn't. He was lying to everybody and he doesn't have that right. After the initial shock, the boys grew angry. Former contestant Toby Green recalled that runner-up Scott Gibson went berserk, and soon things began to spiral out of control. Scott, a martial artist instructor, began to smash the set up and even chase the director around the pool. Of course he did. All the creators watched him make out and fall in love with a biological man, and they thought it was good entertainment. When psychiatrist Dr. Gareth Smith spoke to the boys to try to calm them down, they chillingly blamed Miriam instead of the production crew. At one point, Dr. Smith even recalled one of them saying, I'm going to F her. Tom, who was an actor, was worried about how the show would affect his career, reportedly telling Gareth, I can't be a gay actor. Was a concern back then. The producers had employed a series of underhand tactics to deceive the boys, including offering them an indecipherable contract, deliberately avoiding the use of pronouns, and even eliminating contestants if they began to suspect the truth. As a result, the boys were furious. Again, what exactly did they expect? Did they expect the guy to just wave off the fact that the person in front of him is not a woman. The fact that show tried to so hard deceive those men and turn into an entertainment. I really can't wrap my mind around it. It's complete insanity. All those men went back to London, where they decided to try to legally stop the show from even being aired. The men sued the show for conspiracy to commit sexual assault, defamation, breach of contract, and personal injury in the form of psychological and emotional damage. They eventually settled for an undisclosed amount, although I heard gossips that it was $750,000, and the show aired the following year. So basically, they were paid off for the show to air. But we also need to discuss Miriam's side. Her words after the finale was filmed revealed just how vulnerable she was feeling at the time. She said, "I went back to the hotel and I was shaking from the experience. I didn't know if they were going to punch me or attack me. I wasn't out to hurt anyone's feelings. No one in the crew would talk to me. They were all my friends during filming and now they don't want to know me. I feel really upset and alone." Apparently, Miriam fled the country and started working in a club. She was also in Big Brother at some point, if I'm not mistaken. But generally, Miriam was offered no help, no assistance from the psychologist. Nobody cared what happened with this person afterwards. Should they care? From what I understand, this biological man knew what was going on. Miriam knew that the role in the show will be to deceive these men, to pretend to be a woman. And that's why I will always say that people who are transgender need psychological help, no surgery. Because no one with healthy mind would ever agree to this. It was dumb, it was disgusting, it was horrific, but it was also dangerous. Seriously, what if these men lashed out? What if they did want to harm Miriam physically after the big reveal? But the creators of the show keep defending it. Despite the fact that Miriam was clearly vulnerable, the TV executives who worked on There's Something About Miriam continue to defend their decision in the channel for documentary. When asked how she felt about the deception, production executive Joe Justin said, "I didn't feel anything. I'm in the business of making television shows. I didn't feel anything about the format that I felt was bad or wrong. I didn't feel that way. I really didn't. Do I think it went beyond any moral codes of conduct? No. Wanna bet she was LGBTQ? Anyway." And speaking about Miriam, she added, "The whole premise of the show was the reaction. That's just the nature of the TV programming. This idea that this poor young woman was plucked out of Mexico and dumped into this situation, she was a savvy, clever woman. She knew exactly what she was getting into and why, and she wanted to be a part of it." Yeah, so after her alleged unaliving in 2018, Miriam has been spoken about as a victim of the whole situation. People say that everyone was a victim here. I want to argue with that because it's those men that had been lied to. It's the men that didn't know Miriam was actually a man. So as much as I think the producers are a bunch of sick freaks, I agree here. Miriam knew what it was and what was going on. So you can't put her on the same victim level with the guys. But I'm really trying to imagine if this type of show would fly today. How would people react to something like this? And I know that the reaction would be very different than back then. Because in our times, we are not allowed to offend a trans person. We are not allowed to call them by their actual gender, their actual pronouns. We are not allowed to say that we wouldn't date a trans person. We need to pretend that a dude in a dress is as much of a woman as your biological mother. We made progress since then. Here is an example of this progressive thinking for you.
Before you claim the prize, Miriam has something to say.
So I actually remember this show coming out. It came out in 2004, so I was 6 years old at the time, and I watched it, and it was my first representation of a trans person on TV.
Who let a 6-year-old watch this show, first of all?
And it's amazing to see the comments on this video are still echoing the same things that they said back then. Like, somehow the men are the victims in this situation when they literally sued Sky and got £500,000 each. I'm sure they're doing all right for themselves now. Miriam is dead. She got murdered at 38, which isn't even that young for a trans person. She had multiple attempts on her life. Why does no one care about that? It's all about these men's egos. I just can't. I guess that's what really matters to people in the end.
This person, who is obviously very progressive, claims that it's Miriam who's a victim in this whole situation and blames the men's egos for everything that happened after the big reveal. Not to even mention that she also suggests that because of the guy's reaction to the situation, Miriam was murdered. This is absolutely untrue. But how were they supposed to react? Well, according to today's liberals, they wouldn't have any right to react negatively. They would have to smile and pretend everything is okay. they'd have to say something like, yes, Miriam is a woman. The penis between her legs doesn't matter to me. Someone in the comments said, it's always been men's egos over women's lives. So, do you claim that the reason for a man not wanting to date another man who claims to be a woman is his huge ego, not his sexual orientation? Not the fact that when he searches for a partner, he wants someone to have biological kids with in the future. Maybe they want someone who hasn't been surgically altered. In this case, it wasn't damaged ego that made them angry. I don't know how some people don't see it. Someone else said, I hated this. The way she was conditioned to feel she needs to say, I'm not a woman. Like, yes, you are, baby. It's okay. Hope all those men suffer. Well, yes, guess what? Biological man is not a woman, and it's okay. Look at this example of how transgender women in Thailand speak about themselves, and they don't feel the sick need to be referred to as real women.
You're very beautiful.
Thank you.
But you're not a woman, are you?
Yes, I'm not a woman.
So what are you?
I call myself, or transgenders, or most popular word in Thailand, we call ladyboys, yes.
Okay, there we go. What does a ladyboy like actually mean?
We are also like look like women, but somehow we still have a dick.
See? At least there is no deception here. When a man will come across this person, he will immediately be told the truth. And then the rest is up to him, I guess. This user said, he's beautiful, I like that. In Thailand, they don't call themselves women. They know what they really are. The West needs to hear this more often, especially the extreme left-wingers. This comment, I respect ladyboys Thai trans so much for knowing who they are and not claiming to be women. Anyway, there is something about Miriam's show, except the fact that it should not have existed at all, made me also think about this one thing, trans women who date men. Because I can only imagine there is this dilemma when to reveal the truth, especially if you really pass as a woman. If you fully transitioned and live legally and socially as a woman, when do you reveal the truth? I found this clip, have a look.
Do you disclose that you're trans?
I just have been reviewing actually the video that I made where it's like, I'm not telling straight guys that I'm trans. The amount of comments I get around, well, if you don't tell him, then you're going to get what's coming for you, or like you're lying to him, or that's not the right way to start a relationship. It's like, hey, start the conversation with all of the baggage that you have in life. If we're going to go off of that rule of I should disclose that I'm trans on a first date, then you should tell me how much money you make, how big your dick is, and like what trauma you have with your parents.
So it's not something that you're completely hiding. It's something that you are going to disclose.
Yeah.
But it's just not a first date conversation.
It's not, because it's like, do you want to anchor your whole relationship off of identity compatibility?
Right.
That seems very superficial.
Yeah.
What are your values? What do you care about? What's the energy between us?
Yes, some things have to be said on the first date. And this is one of them. Even before the first date, to be honest. That's my opinion. It should be disclosed proudly. It's not superficial, it's just honesty. And this one, yeah, that is a first date conversation. Another one, if you're pursuing a long-term intimate relationship, then yes, nothing is off limits. Otherwise, you're not being truthful and wasting the other's time. Yes, that's what a relationship is, identity and compatibility. Very well said. Identity and compatibility. But I want to know what you guys think. Is this TV show the craziest thing you've ever heard of? How would you react in this guy's place if you found out the person you were dating was actually a different sex than they originally stated? Let me know in the comments. And just a reminder, please subscribe to my channel, turn on all notifications to never miss another Daily Freddo episode. For even more content, check out my Rumble account, linked in the description, and follow me on Instagram @DailyFreddo. That's all for today. Have a good one.